relationship with God. The Sanskrit word bhakti means love and devotion, and bhakti marga is the path of living and loving the divine in daily life. One way to do this is through chanting the name of God. This practice is also known as japam. Chanting is a very simple yet powerful practice that has been used for thousands of years. Ancient saints and yogis have called upon this power of chanting to calm the mind and to attain higher states of consciousness. Many different spiritual traditions use chanting as a way to connect more intimately with the source of life itself. Chanting the Lord's name invokes His divine presence, and chanting with love helps you realize Him within your own heart. You will notice that Paramahamsa Vishwananda is using a string of 108 prayer beads called a mala. A mala carries the vibrational energy of the divine name and helps to keep track of the repetitions. Paramahamsa Vishwananda will come online in just a few moments, and when he does, he will invite you to chant along with him for approximately 15 minutes. After the chanting is finished, he will lead everyone in a short guided meditation to support Mother Earth. Once the meditation is finished, please sit quietly for a few moments to enjoy the effects of your japam. When Paramahamsa Vishwananda comes back online, he will give satsang by answering your spiritual questions and revealing timeless truths to help you rise above the challenges and fears of today's world. It is very rare to have such access to a living master. It is even more special to have the opportunity to learn directly from him. We hope you enjoy your connection with the divine.
Have you ever looked into the eyes of a spiritual master? Come and experience it for yourself. Look into the eyes of real, unconditional love and let it open your heart. Paramahamsa Swami Vishwananda is a God-realized master who lives in constant union with the divine. He lives at a place in the heart of Europe. It is called the home of the Divine Mother. From here, he is now giving what is called darshan online so that everyone can benefit. Darshan means divine sight, but simple words cannot do justice to the incredible experience of seeing and being seen by him. Look into the eyes of unconditional love and let it open your heart. You can now have your own experience of this divine master from wherever you are. Feel it for yourself and let love return.
Jai Gurudev, everybody. So welcome. Let's chant the divine names. Om Namo Narayanaya, 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya, 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya, 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya, 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. Let us do the earth meditation now. Place your hand to your heart level and visualize a light emanating from your heart. And this light become brighter and brighter. Feel with this light the love that you hold inside of you. Feel it in your hand. Feel it vibrating in your palm. More you focus upon this light, more brighter it becomes. Bring this light to your third eye. Let it purify your mind. Bring the light to your eyes, the right one first and the left one. Let it purify your sight. Bring the light to your nose. Let it purify your smell. Bring the light to your mouth. Let it purify the sense of taste. Bring the light to your ears. Let it purify your hearing. Bring the light into your hands and arm. Let it purify the sense of touch. Bring the light to your legs and foot, your feet. Let it purify your path. Then bring the light back to your heart. And within that light, visualize Mother Earth and let light and love be offered to her. Let gratefulness be offered to her. Let understanding be offered to her. Visualize your country and the place you live. Let this love and light be upon these places. Now see the people which is dear to you, your parents, your mother, your father, your brother, sister, husband, wife, friends. Let this light and love be upon them. For those people which is working in every field, let this light and love be upon them. The doctors, the nurses, people which is sick, let this light be upon them for the recovery. And especially if you know anybody, visualize that person and let this light flow to that person. Let this light flow to Mother Nature, to the animals, to the fishes in the sea, the birds, and finally see yourself sitting, emanating this light. This is the light of the divine consciousness inside of you. Let it shine. All the time, just like the sun is ever shining, even if the cloud covers the sun, but behind the cloud the sun is ever shining. And chant with me. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Jai Gurudev, welcome again. So, what we see right now, what is happening, is all the borders of all the countries open, which is wonderful. But we should not abuse, this and think that we are free right now to do whatever we want. We have to think that we are also responsible for many things. But it's funny to see that people, as much as you remind them for so many ways, nature also remind human being, that they have to change something into their life. But they don't like to change. They are like in a cage. They cage themselves. This is their comfort zone. They don't like to look outside of that cage. They don't want to know that there's a world beyond what they have created into their mind. And with their petty little mind, they limit themselves. And when somebody wants to open the cage, just like my birds, and when they're in the cage, they are singing very proud and very elegantly. And then you open the cage, you try to take them out. I tell you, they start to bite. So they bite your finger first, they try to attack you as if you are somebody which is, you want to harm them. But this is the same with people. What I have noticed is the same, when you try to take people out of their bubble, you try to take people out of their cage, say, come, I'll show you. They will start to attack you, start to bite you, just the same as the bird find comfort into the cage. And this is a sad thing, because they have not understand really that you have come into this world to be happy. Not only a limited happiness, but to have unlimited happiness. So when you are close up into this reality, you don't perceive that. So Jai Gopal will ask the question now.
Beloved Guruji, Jai Gurudev, what would be your advice about how people should go through life? By thinking, like weighing up the pros and cons and making their decisions, or by feeling the situation in the moment and choosing the way that has more energy or more light?
Well, in this question, life is not only one way. It's both ways. God have given you a mind, but you can think about. And He have given you also a heart to feel. So ignoring one of them will make you unhappy. Because you will always think, oh yeah, I should have listened to my feeling, when the feeling was showing so strongly and very clearly. But you don't listen, you use your mind only. And then after that, when you listen only to your feeling, you don't use your reason, then you'll be unhappy also. So you see, both goes hand in hand. But firstly, we are talking, in general, people go only with one thing. Either they go with their feeling or they go with their mind. When we choose to go with one mind, we have to understand which kind of mind are we going with. A mind which is have determination, or a mind which have pride and ego. This is also change a lot. When we see majority of the people go into the world, doing their things, when their mind is so much engaged into the outside reality, the outcome of it will be only what they aim for. But when they go in the world with their feeling, but using their reason, because you see, when you use your feeling, you also use your reason. then you will be happy. In Bhagavad, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 9, it said, that those who is doing their duty into this world, they must do it for the sake of liberation, not for aiming only for self, just to get what they want, not only for limited things, because very often people go into this world, doing everything, doing their duty. They're saying, yes, I'm doing my duty, but their duty have an aim behind that, to get only material gain. So if that is the purpose of life, just to gain material things, they will be unhappy. This is where the mind is. Here Bhagavan, in that verse, he said, but no, your duty is a must, but your duty should lead you to self-realization. Your duty must liberate you from the clutches of delusion. If that duty doesn't do that, if you go into your duty with the mind fully absorbed into that, then you will be lost into that, because you may have millions or trillions, but you will still be unhappy. So then it said, but those which is on the spiritual path also, when doing their duty, they should not forget that whatever they are doing is to please the Lord. It's not self-gratification. You see, here it's keep a warning also upon that. Those who go with their feeling, those people which is, when we divide these two things, we'll see. Well, some people will say, okay, yeah, people in the world are very bad. It's not true. You need to be in the world, but your mind must not attach to this world. And then the spiritual people will say, oh yeah, but we are in the world, we are doing spiritual things. Look at us, we are superior. Very often you encounter that in the spiritual field, But the pride, spiritual pride, arises also. Here in Bhagavad he said, yes, but be careful of that. But the self-gratification should not be there. Because you see, very often we try to compare, us with everybody else. We think that we are better. Spiritual people think that, because we live with our heart and feeling, we are better than the outside other people which go with their mind. So then they lose their reasoning. So that's why in that verse of Bhagavad it said that one have to be very careful about that. One have to be aware that why are we doing our duty? We have been born in this world. Why are we born here? To attain to the lotus feet of the Lord, to be free from that cycle of birth and death. But if we attach ourselves to this reality, and with our mind bind to this reality, then we'll be still into that cycle of birth and death. So forget about that cycle of birth and death. Let's look at life itself. If our mind is fully engrossed into the outside world, what will happen? We become miserable, because it will never be the way what our mind fashion. Because when we have a certain ideas in our mind, but yet we lack faith, we lack belief in that ideas, and just say, yes, I want this like that, it will never happen. In the same Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 12, actually, he said, the sages, the saints, they go into this world, with their mind, they do their duty and everything, but they have that knowledge inside of them. And what is that knowledge is the knowledge of the divine itself. So through that knowledge which they have received through the satsang, through that knowledge that they have received through what they have gone into the spiritual path, that knowledge itself become something that liberate them. So how would that liberate them? Is that they find everything within themselves. So you see, here you see two things. You see one which is going with the mind, which is fully into the world. Look, we are in the world. We have a body, we have a mind, we have intellect, we have the soul itself, but we should not forget about that. All these are important tools, and that what is the most important tools? What is the most important about these tools? These tools have been given to us to attain to something which is higher. And when that becomes clear, like the sage, they meditate upon, everything within them. So it said, your soul itself, will speak to you. You will hear that voice of the divine inside of you through the feeling, but you have to learn to feel. Very often people come to me and they say, I want to be happy, but I'm not happy. I do everything with my heart. I feel everything, but yet I'm still not happy. Well, you see, confused what you're thinking about with the feeling is two different things. You see that very often, when people are in love, for example. They feel so much happiness inside of them. But their happiness is covered by thinking. Very often people have a certain notion inside of their mind of what they expect from their relationship. When that relationship is not meant, then they will be unhappy. They didn't, first they have that feeling, but then yet the mind take over. So that's why on the spiritual path we talk about purifying the mind itself. When we look at Bhagavad Gita, for example, Bhagavan Krishna continuously remind Arjuna, the source of misery is not out there, it's inside of you. And that source of misery is your mind, is your desire. So as long as that mind look for happiness into the outside, it will never happen. So one have to have that choice. When we make a choice to be happy, then we will be happy. Then the feeling of happiness will take over. There's a beautiful story of a saint. That saint was always joyful and happy. So whatever, for no reason, he will always be happy. Luckily, I have met people like that, no matter what situation, even if there is something terrible happening all around them, they're always cheerful, they're always happy. These kind of people are quite rare, actually. So this saint was also the same kind. And of course, this saint was a source of happiness, not only for himself, but for others also. Whoever will come near him, they will be like infected with that happiness for no reason. They didn't do great tapasya, they didn't do great meditation or anything. And that saint was joyful, always smiling, always cracking jokes, and was, even in the worst situation, it was shocking for the people, because he was always smiling about it. So one day, as he was approaching death, on his deathbed itself, one of his disciples asked him, said, Maharaj, we have never seen you unhappy. In any situation that have come, you were always smiling. For no reason, sometimes you just smile and was laughing. Even now, this is a time that you are dying now, and you're still smiling and happy. So why? Tell us this, why are you always in such a joyful mood? Then he told his story to his disciple, and he said, when I was 17 years old, I went to meet my Guru Maharaj. I was also sad and miserable, just like all of you. I have also great dreams that was not fulfilling, just like all of you. I went to my Guru Maharaj. I was so unhappy. And that Guru Maharaj was an old man. He was sitting under the tree, and sometimes he would just look in the sky, in the emptiness, and would start laughing for no reason. There was nobody around. So I asked him, what are you? The same way you're asking me. Why are you always happy? Are you mad? Then the Guru Maharaj said to him that it is a choice that I say to myself every day. And that is, before I open my eyes, listen, before I open my eyes every morning, I say to myself, what do you want? You want to be miserable, or you want to be blissful? That's what I said to me. And the first thought that before opening my eyes, I said to myself, I want to be blissful. So the first thoughts that arise when I open my eyes is blissfulness. So who want to be miserable? No one wants to be miserable. But sadly, some people go through life being misery. But if you want to be blissful, even in misery, you will find bliss into it. So like that, those who dwell within their heart, with their feeling, no matter what into this world will come, whatever the world will throw at them, they will be blissful. So you see, the mind is very important, so is your feeling also very important, because whatever the divine have given you, it is for a reason. The mind have its duty, your feeling have its duty also. You can't separate both of them, but you can transform. If the mind is running towards the outside, again attached to the material world, that will bring you miserable situation. But if that mind is unite with the feeling, then you will start to risen. Then you will be happy. This is a choice, like in the story itself, you see. But you have a choice always in life, to listen to your mind or to listen to your feeling. But sadly, very often people forget about that. You see, in certain situations that come into their life, even the joyful moment that they have experienced in their life, they can throw it in 1 second by the window because of their stupid mind. And that mind, it is your choice to change it. And nobody can change that mind for you. You have to use that mind in a positive way. Now, if you use your mind in a positive way, your life will be blissful. But if you use your mind in a negative way, you will become miserable. And all around you, your life itself will become miserable. So, choice is up to you to decide.
What is the best, fastest and surest way of securing liberation from repeated cycles of birth, old age, disease and death, and escaping from the delusive power of Maya in daily life? Humble obeisances to you.
Sorry, what is...
What is the best, fastest and surest way to get liberated?
Krishna answered this question. The fastest way to be liberated from all these things is to focus your mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord. You know? This is the fastest way. You know? In chapter 8, verse 9 of Bhagavad Gita, it said, those whose mind, you know, is those who meditate upon the omniscient, you know, the ancient, the ruler, the supporter, you know, the giver of life itself, you know, the one which is shining, you know, the effulgence like the sun, you know, those who meditate upon, you know, go out of darkness, you know, beyond the ignorance itself, you know, attain to me. So yeah, Bhagavan is said clearly, you know, when we analyze that, you know, he said that if you want to be happy, you know, if you want to attain to him, you have to learn to focus. You know. First, what he said is about the omniscient. Here he said that knowledge is important, all-knowing. Omniscient is the all-knowing. So the Lord, you know, which have placed a parcel of himself within, you know, the one which dwell within yourself, you know. So on that one mind must be. If one is meditating and have that knowledge that the Lord is there, you know, we will attain to him. Then the ancient, you know, in this world we always, when we look around, we always find antique things, you know, and we say, yes, this is very old, you know, and this is of old ruined, you know, old painting from prehistoric time. But we forget the most ancient things into this world. Actually, it's not nothing of the outside material things. It is your Atma itself. It is the Atma which is the most ancient of all. When we know the secret of the Atma, we'll see that the Atma is the oldest, you know, which is experienced all these things. So the supporter, you know, here Bhagavan is saying that, yes, I am the one which is the supporter. Everything which is hanging upon this world, upon this, it's only upon me. You know, there's nothing else. And the ruler, you know, here Bhagavan said that those who meditate upon the ruler, that means in a dictative way, you know, who rules above everything? It is the supreme consciousness itself. No? So if we meditate upon that supreme consciousness, knowing that it is only him which prevailed over everything else, no? We will attain to him. No? So then the effulgence, you know, he's the most shining, you know, more shining than the sun itself. You know, when we look at the sun outside, it's so bright in itself. But that Atma itself, in the verse it said that it is smallest than any atom. An atom is already small, you know, he said it's the smallest of all atoms. But yet it is the most magnificent of all, you know. So this atom which is not perceived by anything, you know, an atom is so tiny, you know, microscopic, even less than microscopic. But yet it gives power, strength to everything, you know. Firstly, it gives power and strength to your body itself. It gives power and strength to the mind. And this is not perceivable with the eyes, you know. It is undescribable, you know. We can't describe, you know, the Atma itself. We can't describe the Lord himself in his glory. Even when Arjuna saw Lord Krishna in his magnificent form, in his cosmic form itself, it is impossible, Yes, we can see, yes, he have many heads and explain into these things, but it beyond his own comprehension. Here Bhagavan said, it is incomprehensible. So to comprehend it with a limited mind, here you see where the finite hit the wall, because there is a wall to it. Our mind is limited, and when we hang upon that mind which is limited, we will hit a wall, and that wall you will get hurt. So how, can even the Veda can't describe him? Bhagavan said you can't describe there's no description of his magnificence itself. You can't describe his splendor. You can't describe his magnitude itself. His brightness. Even here you see that which is smallest, that even an atom, it shines even more brighter. Imagine this, nowadays they do atomic bomb, you see, they fuse some energy, they make like little sun. So imagine, this is the sun. What you have inside of you is even more brighter and more stronger than that sun itself. So knowing that, what you have inside of you, knowing who you are in a depth, that will bring you closer to the feet of the Lord. That bring you closer to have a certain understanding of who you are and who He is. And that when you have such understanding, that what is inside of you is the one which prevailed over everything. You are part of Him now at all time. It's not a God which is seated out there, but it's a God which is seated eternally within the core of your Atma itself. And it is there that He gives you rendezvous, and it is there that He's waiting for you, and it is there that He's looking after you, caring for you. So where your mind have to be, to reach Him faster is to run quickly inside of you. To dive into that ocean of His love. It is through His love that He have made so easily accessible for every human being. Continuously He reminds everyone of His love, but yet human beings are so preoccupied with the petty things of the outside world that they lose their chances. So don't waste time. Dive into the ocean of love and find Him. This is the easiest way, to attain to Him. Don't look left, right. Don't look back, forward. Just look deep inside of you. Meditate upon Him. The Supreme Lord is there inside of your heart. Jai Gurudev.